Hi everyone, it's Pete again. Got Nelly and Ray here with us today with the Christmas jumpers on. So for today's video, I just wanted to speak about the commitment of owning a dog, buying a puppy, because I think there's some certain things that people maybe don't think about. Not necessarily people that have owned dogs before, you know, if it's your second or your third dog, but because we run a rescue as well, you know, we see a lot of mistakes that people make when purchasing dogs. Obviously we're talking specifically about bull mastiffs, but what I'm saying can apply to any breed really when you're buying a pet dog. Now, everybody, or I would hope that everybody, thinks about the commitment of when you're purchasing a dog, you have to understand things like the money that comes along with it, not just in purchasing the dog, but things like vet's bills, feeding them, buying them toys. Obviously, there's the time constraint as well. You know, you've got to be aware that your life is going to change. You're not going to be able to just do everything ad hoc. You've got to think about your pet, how long it's going to be at home. Is it comfortable being at home? You know, are you used to going on holiday for 2 weeks a year? What's that going to look like now? Have you got family members that can look after your pet? Come on, Ray. Come on. Good girl, Nelly. Come on, Ray. There he is. Have you got family members that can look after your pet, or are they going to have to go in boarding kennels? Oh, and we're off. It's going to be a big fight. But I think most people, I would hope, do take those things into consideration. I think for me, the biggest thing that we see that people don't think about is the biggest commitment, in my opinion, that you're making when you buy a pet dog is you have got to advocate for your pet. You've got to love your pet, you've got to make it part of your family. But in my opinion, that should happen anyway. That goes without saying. To me, the biggest commitment you make when you're buying a pet dog is there will, unfortunately, it's part of life, come a time when that dog is going to be old, it might be ill, and it's a sad fact, but not many pet dogs pass away peacefully in their sleep. You know, I don't exactly know what the statistics are, but there's not many. So as an owner, a loving owner, when I talk about advocating for your pet dog, you are going to have to make that call of when it's time to help your dog pass away. Nobody wants the dog to be in pain. Nobody wants the dog to be suffering. So we as owners, the dogs can't tell us, they can't speak to us, but if you know your pet and you love your pet... Nelly! Good girl. If you know your pet and you love your pet, you will have an idea of when the time is right. And it's a difficult decision. Of course it is. Nobody wants to put a pet dog to sleep. But for me, that's one of the biggest things that I think people don't take into consideration when they're buying a dog. You know, it's easy to get excited about having a new pet, and you should be. You know, you can think about the bills and the time it's going to take, but at the back of your mind, Nelly, let me sort your jumper out. You should just know that there's going to come a time where, you know, it could be 10, 12, 13 years, it could be 5 or 6 years from when you own that pet that you will have to make the call to put them to sleep. And we've seen sad cases where, you know, we've had people that have had bull mastiffs and they've had them since a puppy and they're 7 years old, and they get in touch with rescue because they want to hand their pet bull mastiff in because, well, he's old, he's ill, and we don't think he's got much longer left. And it's mind-boggling to me. You know, we've had to put a lot of dogs to sleep. It comes with the territory of owning a lot of dogs. You know, we've probably had to put over 10 dogs to sleep at this point, and we've got 13 dogs now, and we know at some point they all aren't going to be with us anymore. You know, and you need to make sure that you go with your pet. We put ours to sleep at home. We have a mobile vet that comes out, we put them to sleep at home, and because all of ours are so bonded, once they've passed, we bring all of ours in to see them and smell them so that they know and understand that they aren't here anymore, and that seems to work for us. You know, of course there's some cases when they get ill suddenly and you don't have that option, but whenever we have that option, that's what we do. And it seems to help the rest of the pack understand what's happened. But the biggest thing is being there with your pet right until the end. You know, making sure that they know that you're there, that you say that they're safe, that they're loved, that they can hear your voice. You know, dogs give us so much, and I don't think it's much to ask in return to do them that one big favour of making sure that at the end they're taken care of. You jumper. So yeah, it's just something to bear in mind, that if you are thinking of getting a puppy, a pet dog, just be aware that, Nelly, that you are at some point going to have to make that decision. Ray, ah, good boy. That you are going to have to make that decision. You know, you don't have to weigh, it doesn't have to weigh heavy on your mind, but just have it there, knowing that when you're entering into that relationship with your dog, the time's going to come and you need to advocate for your dog. You need to be there for them, you know. So yeah, just wanted to do a quick video on that today. As you can see, Ray's growing nicely with his little jumper on. He's got his best mate Nelly here, and we're going to start doing 4 videos a week now. We're going to up it slightly, so we'll have another video that's dropping tomorrow. But thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon. Ray, where is he? Where is he? He's there. He's there. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Nelly. See you later, guys.